Today's going to be a really interesting video because we are putting a brand new brown chain link fence around this entire parking lot, and as you'll see by the before videos, this parking lot desperately needs a makeover. Now, you know, in these videos I'm a huge fan of before and after videos, so check out the after product of this beautiful chain link fence job. This came out absolutely great. As you will see in the video, it was quite the crazy installation. We have a lot of bonus tips and tricks thrown in there throughout the video, so I highly suggest watching the whole thing. Let's get into it. Now come take a look at this fence right here. As you'll see, this is a 6-foot high fence, but I'm only 5'10" and I'm taller than it. This fence is completely buried, so we have Costanza Landscaping here to help us with the takedown. It's going to be a really messy takedown. Now, this new fence is going to be brown, like I said, on a galvanized frame, and it's going to have a top rail and a bottom wire. So this is our first time doing bottom wire on the channel, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy the video. So let's welcome the crews here and let's get started with this takedown and the cleanup. Alright, now we have the crew here taking out this portion of the fence, getting it ready for the new one. Freddie, how are you feeling today?
Feeling cold, but we're ready to go. Yes.
Perfect.
We're ready to do another job.
Siempre listo.
Siempre listo, baby. Siempre listo. Right now we are working on removing all of the pipe on the existing chain link fence. As you'll see, this one is banged up pretty bad. It got hit by a car, it looks like. It's crooked, dented, so this pipe cannot be reused. She is replacing the entire fence with new pipe. They got the pipe loose. They're gonna use all their muscles to lift that out and place it on the ground. How are you feeling after that lift? That looks like a pretty heavy deadlift. Very tired, yeah, very tired, and we're ready for water. We're gonna go for water right now.
Is building fences a good way to get muscles?
Yeah, and yes, it is. Look at this.
Look at this.
Very loose. But
there you go. If you want to get in shape, start doing fences. Now check out the truck behind me with all the garbage on it. We are gonna get this old fence out of here. Now, real quick, I'm going to show you the layout of this job. As you'll see, it is a pretty long line of fence. On every end and on every corner, we're going to have a terminal post. For this job, we're using 2.5 inch by 8 foot galvanized pipe. Between all the terminal posts, we're going to have line posts. For the line posts, we're using 2 inch by 8 foot pipe. So now we have the back area of fence taken down. So now Freddie is over here digging the hole for the back right terminal post. This one over here is going to be a corner. Now when you're digging a hole, it really helps to work in pairs. We always work in pairs at Natural Beauty Fence. You'll have one man holding the digger. His job is to dig down and pick out all the loose dirt. Then you'll have another guy come in with a tamping bar. The job of the guy with the tamping bar is to shape the hole. So you're gonna go around the edges of the bottom of the hole, shape it, loosen up that dirt. You're gonna go here in the bottom of the hole, loosen up the dirt, and shape the hole. So that way the guy with the digger can just scoop out all the loose dirt, go a little bit deeper, and then you're gonna switch places. It's a lot more efficient to work in pairs this way, unless of course you're just here to work out. Otherwise, if you're doing a big fence, work as a team, right Freddie? Now we are digging the hole for our back left terminal post. Now if you'll see this beautiful chain link fence behind Herson.
Hello! This beautiful chain link fence behind us here, we actually installed this a number of years ago. I think Freddie did this job actually. Freddie installed this fence behind me about 7 or 8 years ago. You'll see it's still in great condition. Got hit a few times by cars in this parking lot, but it's still standing, still in great condition. And we're just continuing the operation so that way the rest of the parking lot matches. Now, as you'll see, her son is cutting the fittings off of that existing terminal post, because we are going to take that post out and replace it with our new one. Now we have the old post taken out. As you'll see, this part of the fence is loose, not attached to anything. We're gonna put a brand new terminal post in there. So on the bottom here, we have to connect it to the existing brace band because it's already connected to a bottom wire. So they just slid it through that existing brace band. So now Theo is gonna put on the fittings. This is going to be a corner as we're connecting to the existing fence and then going with the new fence this way. Now, as you'll see, Theodora was just measuring the height of the terminal post. The wire we're going to be using is 72 inches high. So you want to set each terminal post a few inches higher than the wire. So we're going to set each terminal post about 74, 75 inches above grade, something around there. So that way we have enough space for the brace band for the top rail as well as the end terminal cap that's going to go on top of the post once the fence is up. For the line post, we want the line post to sit about 2 inches below the height of the wire. That way the top rail will pass through the wire just below where it coils. Now we're stretching this existing fence so that way it meets up with the new terminal post. So in this case, since we're removing an old fence and putting the new one in the exact same place, all the holes that we dig to remove the old post are going to be the same holes that we use to put in the new post. And we're going to set a string line so that way we ensure that the fence is straight. Now that the string line is up, we're going to set these line posts, but an important consideration that I think now would be a good time to talk about are the two sides of a chain link fence. So on one side of the fence, you're going to have the framework. So you're going to see the rail on the top, all the posts, and if there's a bottom rail on the bottom, you'll see that, or in this case, it's going to be a bottom wire. Then you're going to have the wire side, where the wire is going to cover all the framework. In this case, it's going to cover it because we're going to have slats. You're not actually going to see it as much as you would if the fence didn't have slats. So generally when you're doing work, especially for a commercial property, the neighbor always gets the wire side and the customer or the owner of the property always gets the frame side. Freddie put the string line on the wire side of the fence, so the posts are going to be in front of the string line. Freddie is also putting another string line on top just so all the line posts are on the same level. This is optional, but our installers like to do it. It makes it a little bit easier. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to set the line post. So I'm going to demonstrate on one of the posts. We don't need to show you every single post on the job because we'd be here for hours. Well, we're gonna be here for hours, but you guys, no, you just wanna watch for a few minutes, I get it. So first, Freddie's gonna hold the post somewhat plumb. He's gonna have it right against the string line, and Theo is going to put dirt in the hole first. Now, once there's dirt in there, Freddie is gonna hold the post level, and Theo is gonna come here with a tamping bar. He's going to tamp that dirt nice and compact at the bottom, so that way the post is held stationary, nice and plumb. Now this dirt that we initially put in there, this is just to get the post in the correct position, so that way once we add cement, it's being held plumb and against the string line exactly where it needs to go. So Freddie is going to tamp that dirt nice and strong, nice and compact, and then Theo is going to come in there and add cement around the remainder of the hole. So mixing the cement is pretty simple. We usually use a wheelbarrow like this and a shovel. We typically mix 2 bags of Quikrete at a time. It's just a nice fast drying concrete, works really well for fences. So we put the 2 bags of concrete in the wheelbarrow. Theo adds a good amount of water to it, so that way we get the right consistency. And now he's not going to fill it all the way up to the top. He's going to leave a few inches of space on the top of the hole, so that way we can cover the cement with dirt in case the customer wants to plant grass in the future. The grass will grow all the way around the post and look beautiful. So now we see Theo is getting started with the cement. He's going to add a generous helping of cement inside this hole to make this post nice and strong. Now we're going to put the fittings on each terminal post.
Oh, good morning. Today we're going to talk about chain link fittings, and I have on the desk here a few different types of fittings that you're going to need to put up your chain link fence. Let's start at the top of the fence post. On each corner post, end post, terminal post, you're going to use a cap. This is a terminal cap. This one is for 2.5 inch pipe. It just slips right on top and you bang it on. That's your cap. Then we have loop caps that go on each line post. The loop cap comes in different sizes based on how big the pipe is and how big the top rail. Usually it's given by size by the post and then the rail. So this would be a 2-inch by 1 5/8. So it fits a 2-inch post and a 1 5/8 top rail.
Now Freddie is going to put the loop caps on each of the line posts. So now let's look at how he puts this on. Now as you'll see, the part that protrudes outward goes on the wire side. So you'll see this little curve right here is going to go on the wire side, and the side that's a little more flat over here is going to be on the frame side. If you were to put this backwards, you would see, let's say the wire was on this side, just as an example, you would see here at the loop cap, every time you tie it, the wire would go in a little bit on the top, and it does not look nice. Way better to have it done correctly.
On each terminal post, you're going to have a brace band and a tension band.
This right here is a tension band. Now as you see, the tension band is a little bit different from the brace band. One side is flat and one side is curved. The flat side of the tension band is going to go on the wire side of the fence, and the curved side of the tension band is going to go on the frame side of the fence.
Your brace band goes on the bottom for bottom wire, so it would go on the post with a nut and bolt passing through, and we would tie the bottom wire onto the nut and bolt. And on the top, it would go around the top of the post, again with a nut and bolt and a rail end cup. The rail end cup goes like this, and you would put the nut and bolt through it, and you put your top rail right into the rail end cup. Finally, you have fence ties to tie the fence to the post. We have long ties and short ties. The shorter ties are for a 1 3/8 top rail, usually the small top rail like this. The longer tie would be for the thicker top rail like this. We're doing 6-foot high fence. Normally we use a longer tie and we wrap it around and tie the fence to the posts. And those are your chain link fittings.
Now we're going to put the fittings on each terminal post. Right here we have a corner post, so we're going to have a fence going in 2 different directions. So we're going to need to double up on our fittings here. We're going to start with 2 brace bands on the bottom. The brace bands are for the bottom wire. You'll see Theo is going to face a brace band in this direction and then another one in this direction. Now we're going to start with our tension bands. For a 6-foot high fence, we use 5 tension bands on the terminal post. But now, because this is a corner, we're going to put 10. It's very important that you alternate the tension bands for each direction and you keep it consistent throughout. Theo is putting the tension band for the fence that goes this way on the bottom, and the tension band for this way is on the top. So you're going to keep stacking them in pairs just like that. So you'll see here we have the brace band attached to the rail end cup with just a nut and bolt. You can use either 1 1/4 inch nut and bolt or a 1 1/2 inch nut and bolt. If you could use a shorter one, it's better just because you don't have as much sticking out over here. So we used a 1 1/4 inch nut and bolt here to attach the rail end cup to the brace band. Now, as you'll see in a moment once we do the top rail, we're going to just slide the top rail right into here and continue it on that way. The guys are simply going to insert the top rail through each of the loop caps that we put on the line post, and they are going to connect it into the terminal post right here, into the rail end cup. These top rail come 21 feet long, and they're swedged on one end, meaning on one end, the end of the pipe is slightly smaller, so that way the 2 top rails can connect. This line of fence is 66 feet, so we are going to need 3 full lengths of top rail and then a small piece, which we'll measure for at the end. Now, as you'll see right here, this is what I meant by the swedged end. We're simply going to connect the 2 rails together. Just like that. So now we're on our final small piece of top rail. I'm going to show you a very easy way to measure for this. So we're going to go from the terminal post and measure not to the end of the pipe here. We're going to measure to the swedge, because remember, we need the small piece to be able to link up with this one. So we're going to measure to the swedge. So I'm going to take my tape measure, go from the terminal post to the swedge, and we have 47 1/4 inches. Now, for the rail end cup, we just know that we're going to need to deduct 1.5 inches. That will be the space between the terminal post where you have the brace band and then the rail-end cup, it's 1.5 inches of space that we need to deduct. So I'm going to take 47¼ inches and subtract 1.5 inches. So we're going to cut our next piece of top rail at 45¾ inches. And for this piece of top rail, we want to cut from the non-swedged end. We want just a normal piece of pipe, so that way it goes into the rail-end cup on this side and goes over the swedge on this side.
Se pasó el tipo.
And now, here we have the complete top rail going across the whole line of fence. As you'll see right here, the attachment point for the rail end cup is on the bottom. Now on this side, Freddie is going to put this attachment point on the top of the brace band. That way these two pieces of top rail are going to be level. Because these two brace bands are stacked on top of each other, if you put both the rail end cups the same way, so with the attachment point on the bottom, let's say, you would see a slight step in the top rail. When you put them opposite each other the way it's supposed to be, then the top rail is going to be level at the corner. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have another updated situation here on the job. So behind me, this is where at the beginning of the video, if you remember, I was standing next to the 6-foot-high fence and it was below me, almost at my shoulder height. So it was a really low fence, and that's because here in the neighbor's backyard, you'll see the property in the rear of this backyard dips down significantly toward the end. So you'll see I'm standing here, let's say I'm about 6 foot tall, I'm 5'10", but for the purposes of this video, let's say I'm 6 foot. And if you'll notice, the parking lot here is almost at my knee height. I mean, this is a significant difference in grade over here. So now the neighbor came out yesterday and expressed concern. He wants the new fence to be level all the way across. He wants the full privacy. And our customer decided to cooperate with him, and we're delaying this part of the job until Thursday, so that's going to be 2 days from now, to give him some time to backfill this whole area with dirt. So he's going to fill this divot, this drop in the grade with dirt, so that way we can go even all the way across with the entire fence. So this fence will be nice and private for his backyard. The people in the parking lot won't be able to see over. So we're going to continue with this side of the fence in 2 days once it's completely filled with dirt. Stay tuned for part 2 of this chain link fence installation, where you will learn how to do the bottom wire, stretch the chain link, and put in the privacy slats. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it.